What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pinball Mod Talk. In Before the Lock, we got episode number 24. I'm Rob with the Electric Playground. Davey with Stumblor Pinball. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to see you, Rob. How's things?
Heck yeah. Good. You know, we're back. I'm just getting back from the beach. Pinball at the beach, which is awesome. Got to see a lot of cool stuff there. Excited to be here with you. We had a ton of news come out, and you've got some. You've been busy too, I think, right?
Mate, I've been burning the candle at both ends. I've been waking up at 5:30 every morning just to
feigning energy. We're both feigning energy here.
Yeah.
I'm hungover,
I'm
you know.
using
Partying all week. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. It's intense, man. Yeah, like it's been. So we just. I mean, we'll get to it a bit later, sort of with a bit of a recap. But I've had a couple of new product releases. There's a lot of new stuff out there, and with new stuff comes teething issues and stuff. So there's been a lot of sorting out to do, but customers have been wonderful. I've had a really great group of people who have sort of stepped up and got in the trenches with me to help debug stuff. So that's been really, really helpful.
Yeah, I was on the floor in Florida, Pinball at the Beach, and I had at least 3 people told me that they got their buoy of death. So you are shipping these bad boys, right?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
We are, yeah, and hopefully all of theirs were working. I'm hoping.
No issues. No.
You shouldn't have led with no. You should have. Yeah, good to hear, man. Good to hear.
No, I know there were none. Yeah, so guys, we got a fun show today. Davey and I decided to kind of make this all about, what we're working on, give you guys some updates on projects that the Electric Playground has going on. Stumblor. It's funny how many people are like, do you guys work together? Are you in the same company? And I'm like, ironically, we haven't done any projects together ever. I don't know how that
No, yeah, we've talked about it a lot.
Talked about it a lot. We did announce something that we are working on with you, though. So that was kind of part of today's show. But we're going to talk about some stuff with Pinball at the Beach. We've got Roi Kurgan with Pinball Galore. Roi is actually a recent distributor of our product. He's carrying our Twilight Zones, Godzillas. He's got those ready to ship. So Roy's going to be coming on here on the show, and we're going to be talking about some news from us and then also Stumblor. We'll hit those up soon. Let me click some buttons here and see if Roi is still back
there.
Hey,
Roi,
how you doing? Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Roi. How's it going, man?
See you both. Everything's
great to
awesome.
see you. All right, guys, write down this URL right now. I'll share it again later, but Pinball Galore. So brand new business, right, Roi? This is kind of I know you've been distributing a lot of products outside of pinball, but this is your first pinball venture, I think. Is that correct?
Yes, finally. It's been a lifelong dream. I've always done stuff that I have a big passion about, and pinball is one of the biggest ones. And I just had to find my niche and my way into it. And when I discovered you, when you launched your first product, I was like, it's going to happen now. And
nice.
It's basically what happened.
Yeah.
I think we've all been trying to work out a way to elbow our way into the industry.
Mm-hmm. I think you've done a great job.
I guess we shipped that maybe 3 or 4 months ago, probably longer, Roi. It took a while to get over there, but finally got our pipeline going a little bit.
Long. Yeah, that took a while, and took a while explaining what these things are for, because when you say that it's for pinball, they say Luna Park. That's kind of the name that came up here at customs a couple of times. Everything's here, ready to ship, ready to go. And what isn't is available to order. So there's no problem there. And you guys are just making everything available at the speed of light these days compared to when I waited for the first batch of Twilight Zone. Yeah. There it is. It's up there.
Yeah.
This one is number 6, and it came. Wow. It had a long way until it reached us.
There's a couple of people in the UK waiting for the Twilight Zone topper as well. I heard on my WhatsApp group chat the other day. So very in demand topper, that one.
We're ready to supply them. We've got them here, and anyone can reach out, contact us, even through the Electric Playground. But we're available. We've got the toppers for Zilla. We've got the wall arts for Big Lebowski. Twilight Zone, we have color, we have the black and white editions, we've got the wall art edition. Yeah, there's pretty much everything. So
we're losing your audio just a tiny bit, Roy. I'm not sure where it's going, but maybe if you can come a little bit closer. And then I'd love to hear about your pinball journey, because I know you've had a lot of machines kind of cycle through your collection.
Yeah.
How long have you been collecting?
So can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, all good.
That's better.
Perfect. So I started collecting, actually it was Coca-Cola, and I realized today that this obsession with collecting something began when I was about 11 with Coca-Cola, and anyone that went abroad had to bring me back a can of Coke, a different one from wherever it was they traveled to. And when I was 13, that summer, in South Africa, summer is in December, my parents, they got divorced, and my dad took us out for a month throughout summer, every single night. We went to play Quasar. This is like 93, Twilight Zone. And they had the Twilight Zone at this place and another place. We would go out every single night. Each one of us would decide where he wants to have dinner. And we would go. He would take one of us to pizza, my brother to pasta, to chicken. And we would do this every night for about 3 years. And one of the places that we went to often had the Twilight Zone. And I remember distinctively telling myself, I was 13, that I will own this machine one day.
Nice.
And it's behind me, not exact one. It might be. It's also from South Africa, but it took me about 10 years later. I ended up coming back to South Africa and picking this one up. And it started from there. I had one, and I added Monopoly from Stern because I wanted one from the factory because I wasn't sure they were going to make it. And I never have the new in-box experience. Look at us now. And that's it. And I kept it easy, one in the office, one at home. And then 2018 was the big, I don't know what happened there, but when just about the time I met my wife, poor her, it just went from 2 or 3 machines to 13, I think, within 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And that's kind of where it stopped. Now I have to trade in or sell if I want to add more games. So it's been a very intense journey over the last 20 years because I've been in and out. But when I'm in all the way. And then it means I mod, to my likings, of course. But I love modding the games, adding all the little things. Getting things done. Look at.
Your ears aren't sensitive.
So here we have. This is a whole different story, but I think I can see the
Leo skull here on the left.
Oh no, this is the collector's edition. So it's the original skull that came with the collector's edition, but this is Slash got his signature when they came to Israel. I think it was a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. I contacted Eric Munier and I asked him, please, can I have Slash sign my piece? And he ended up, he was amazing. I love Eric. He was so great. And I ended up handing this over at the hotel where they were staying in Tel Aviv and coming back the next day to pick it up together with a poster I picked up from the street, and they signed. So yeah, I have a lot of different things. I'm going to keep it short because my collections, I have other things, and there's a whole shed with machines there, but we'll keep it.
Is the older titles usually go for? Like I'm seeing a Twilight Zone and a Monster Bash.
I'm a 90s kid at Whitewater's, making a bit of Whitewater's been looking for a ball no matter how many are in there, regardless. So I've switched it off so it doesn't make any noise. But I have, there's quite a few. Circus Voltaire. There's quite a few other ones in the shed. Theater of Magic.
You still, I think you've got Theater and Totan, right? So you've got
Toe10 is out.
All the big hits from
Toe10
WPC.
Toe10 left about a month ago, and Indiana Jones left about 2 months ago. And wow, if I could share a photo to show you where this went in Germany. It also has a topper that I made with my friend. He made it, but to my customization, I don't know if I can find these. No, it's going to be too long to find.
See if you can find it. We can check it out. Roi, thanks for joining us. I know it's super late there, but I think you're going to stick around with us.
Yes,
for a little bit.
I'm going to stay just a little longer.
Yeah, see if you can find that photo. Let's talk a little bit about Pinball at the Beach. Specifically, at least to start with, I want to talk with you guys about Evil Dead because I got my hands on this for the first time. I'm going to play just a little video. Pinball at the Beach was really cool. It was a kind of a typical beach resort. It was a nice place. But what was really cool about it was they had this like tent, huge tent, air-conditioned tent set up in the middle of this parking lot. But it was a very big tent, but it was a really dedicated place to what felt like maybe 100, 120 games. Spooky was there amongst a number of manufacturers. They had 4 Evil Deads there, which was really cool. And because the show wasn't, a crazy huge attendance, I think it was limited to 1,000 people. The lines weren't too bad either. I hadn't really paid that much attention to the specifics of this game. At least, I thought I knew it, but actually getting to play it, like there was so many things that I'm gonna we'll get back to Rocky here in a second. That I didn't even realize were in the game. So like, there's a flipper inside of one of the slings. Davey, did you know that? I know you've got a deposit on this.
Yeah. The sling flipper. Yeah, no, I did know that. Because I heard them. I heard Bug and Luke talking about it and sort of how they came up with the concept for it. I think they had a couple of different ideas and. I think Bug went off to the toilet and came back, and Luke was like, "Look, it's a sling flipper," and then they just went with it. So, great.
So I really want to try that out. Yeah,
it's really cool. I mean, I'm going to talk about this game from the context of maybe some of the things that people find as negatives about spooky games, and it's not to like beat spooky up. It's just like kind of looking at the evolution of all their games and thinking about all the things that people maybe have got frustrated by, because I feel like they're addressing a lot of it in this game. I mean, like, to me, this didn't play like a spooky game in the sense of what I'm used to. Like, I felt like it was very snappy and responsive. I didn't feel like it was, floaty like some of their games are. The art package is incredible. So even if you're not a fan of
colors,
Evil Dead or like what you saw in Halloween, where it was like very dark and bland, like Christopher Franchi just did an amazing job on making this pop. There's the shots are generally all like pretty hard to hit. Like, you're not finding this like one big shot up the middle like you see on Scooby-Doo or Halloween, where it's just like all freaking day, right? Like, all the shots feel really good. The shotgun shells. So I love what they did with the shotgun shells. So you got to hit each one a couple times, and that's right kind of there above the middle play field. And then you have to hit them both. So you got to lock them together. So you got to hit between the 2 shotgun shells to lock them both, which is not necessarily easy. Then it opens up a trap door and you drop into the mini play field. And then that's pretty fun experience. And then when you complete that, that's what loads the 2 balls in the shotgun on the right. So like, from a storytelling perspective, it's just really cool how they kind of all tie that together. The other thing I'll say about this game that I have kind of bugged me about some spooky games is like, sometimes it feels like there's a lack of polish in the display and in the UI and all that type of stuff. This game just nails it. Like, everything that's going on the display feels incredibly polished. And the topper's freaking amazing. Like, there is, as you'll see, kind of a plastic version and a non, but it's moving. And like, if you think that the Labyrinth topper is cool, this one just takes it another notch, because this is kind of a similar concept, but then it has better movement, better lighting, that type of stuff. So definitely left me surprisingly like thinking like, hey, I want to have this in my collection one day, which is like prior to this.
So
experience,
you haven't
definitely
ordered
wouldn't
it
have said that.
originally?
No, I haven't. I haven't, and I've never owned a spooky game. And I told the guys, like, a person who has a small collection, 4 or 5 machines at any given time, it's not something that I kind of ever saw myself getting a horror flick in, because I have no interest in that genre. But this game just definitely is allowing it to rise above that, kind of resistance.
Well, we also have to sort of think from a business perspective too. Unfortunately, a lot of the time when we're looking at these games, is there a potential for modding? And for you, it's like, is there a potential for topper?
Totally.
And particularly with this game, it's like, there might be a potential for the standard edition, whatever it's called, to, soup that up slightly. But then again, you're halving your market. How many people aren't going to go for that, super awesome topper? I know I did.
I also love that little tape there by the shootout lane.
That's a very nice effect. It just, everything felt really good. I mean, all the parts too that you interact with, like the shotgun shells, are like, you feel like you're interacting with a really quality, mech. Locking balls in the cabin in the back is really cool. I don't know. I was
good digital
super
sound.
impressed. Yeah.
Looks
Very
like
cool. I'll let the video run. Great show put on by Little Shop of Games. It was a lot of fun to be in a different experience. This Rocky was incredible. I mean, I looked up the pin side on this. This is a very expensive game. It's pretty rare, but
it's a really rare game, isn't it? Really rare.
Very rare game. Double flipper situation. When you get the multi-ball going, it's really cool. But it was just gorgeous. So I liked that one. And then the next game that's going to come up, I've seen this game once in my life. This one was a pristine example of it. We'll let it run here for a second. Future Spa, do you know that one, guys?
Yeah, I know the name.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun stuff going on this Future Spa. Here we go.
Yeah.
It is quite the erotic visual adventure. I go in tight on this because I thought that was really cool. Well, how it's executed, but it's just like this, like, fantasy spa scene,
Charlie
men, women. You got it all there. But it was cool.
I'd love to be present during the pitches, like, when they pitched the idea for these games in the boardroom.
Totally.
Back in the 70s, like, how they sold it to the upper team.
Definitely. All the games were great. I mean, one thing I kind of stood out to me is, like, when you go to TPF or Expo, because there's so many games people are bringing and they're trying to sell them. A lot of games just don't play really well because they're looking to sell them for somebody to remake. Well, in this case, like, all the games played really, really nice. So definitely hope that they end up doing it again, and more people get a chance to check it out. The other game that was really awesome was Hellraiser. So Hellraiser is a retheme of a 1982 Devil's Dare by Gottlieb. And I had heard about this because it's a Brian Allen project, in the sense of Brian did the playfield and the backglass artwork, but I had never seen it. So we did a whole
Allen
video.
Did the Pinball Galore's logo.
He did, yes. So Brian is
so when you visit the website, you'll see another little piece of art by Brian Allen.
Definitely. Brian does amazing stuff. I'm sure you guys have seen his work. He does remake or updated translates for a lot of classic Bally Williams games.
There's Whitewater.
Whitewater, yep. But yeah, so I'm gonna play. I want to kind of play the first part of this video because if you don't know Hellraiser, which I didn't, there's this thing called the lament, contraption, or the lament device, that is like kind of a key to opening this world that the Hellraiser, I believe, lives in. And this is the very first clip from the movie, and then it kind of gets into the video.
What's your pleasure, Mr. Cotton?
The box.
Take it. It's yours. It always was.
So that device is called the Lament configuration, I believe, and he's just done so much with this game to make it here. This is Devil's Dare. So this is kind of where it came from.
The original. Yeah.
You guys can get a look at it, but this is a retheme, so it's not an original layout. But if you look at just for starters, like where that game was that I just showed you, he's actually created a lot more depth in that space to be able to add a lot to this game. And we'll eventually get to some pieces here where you can kind of see what's going on. But one of the really cool things is built that limit to the center of the game, and it actually has a lot of different states that are triggered by different actions in the game. He actually built this to show to the director of the movie, and brought it to a show, got it signed by him. But he was just fascinated by how authentic it was. So we've got a full kind of video on this on YouTube right now. I think it's about 20 minutes long, and we get into everything he did underneath the playfield to make this happen. But Clint Jarrett is the guy who did it, and just a beautiful package all around. I don't know, had you guys heard about this game or?
No, never heard of it. And I mean, you say it's a retheme, but there looks to be a hell of a lot more going on there.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
There's
I must admit, I just watched your video a couple hours ago, so I saw it.
Any takeaways?
I did want to understand this little thing because I didn't go all the way into it, but it looked amazing. The colors are bright, and but I've never heard of Hellraiser before. And now watching this little clip is like, maybe it's something to consider finding to watch.
Yeah, he's really lit it up like so nicely too, hasn't he? Like I noticed that he's used sort of post lighting on all the posts. He's using uplighting behind all of the plastics and stuff.
I like on the two sides of the back box, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got chains. So he's got basically like pin stadiums in there, or some form of pin stadiums. But he's got chains hanging down. And if you look in the video, there's two like dioramas. So there's that's not a photo or a graphic. Like
that's beautiful in the back there.
And then on the left,
what a cool idea is it? That is such a cool idea, isn't it? Nobody's ever done that before. Look at everything
spinning on the left. Like it's insane. Like everything he did is over the top with this. And then whenever
I really need to watch the movie now to understand these little things, or at least run through them. Yeah, I have to see what it is like. What gave him the inspiration?
Wow.
I'll kind of move forward to him lifting the playfield. Like, wait till you see.
Because I was wondering with that diorama, like, how the playfield lifts, but obviously it's not a problem, is it?
He's got the, that thing right there sticking out is how there we go. Like, this has like a lot of dynamic movement allowing.
That's the longest mech in pinball.
He said he scratched his forehead on that thing multiple times. But it's cool because it raises up when you start the game, but then if you hit 5 drop targets and then get it in the left shooter or the left save lane, then it like spins. So it's like it doesn't just kind of do its own thing. Like it's actually like integrated in the game, and it uses those relays that you see up there to configure that. So it's also like done in kind of an old school way, where he's incorporated all these like relay based mechanics that are pretty common in older EM games to pull this off. So the amount of wiring is just insane. And it was really just these guys kind of doing it the way they knew how to do it. So it was cool to hear them talk about that.
Did he do a lot of the machining himself? Do you know?
He had a bunch of people help him. I didn't really get into how much he handled of that. I know that it's been covered quite a bit on strictly custom pinball, so there may be some details there.
Because I mean that center mech that you were pointing out, I mean that looked like really beautifully engineered thing, isn't it?
Totally, yeah. It was very. I was as impressed with what as I was on top, just in terms of like how they got, because they definitely added a lot of gameplay to it that the original game didn't have.
Yeah. What an intense
amount
of work.
So the chains are actually on the play field, because I didn't see them now on the side there. Obviously, they couldn't be bringing it up.
Yeah, you can kind of see
Where
them hanging down on the right side and the left side. There's actually literally chains. Like hanging down.
I saw them, but I didn't see where they connect from, and now I think I did. Yeah, wow.
It's basically like a pin stadium type
Yeah.
thing. I'll go ahead and hit up the end. A little bit more footage at the end. But yeah, anyway, huge thank you to Clint.
Amazing.
For
Do you know if he's going to be at any other shows?
He's going to try to. I think he said that he was getting courted to be at TPF and Expo. So he's based in Florida. But I know yeah, definitely. All right.
Cool.
Yeah. So Pinball at the Beach was cool. Definitely worth checking out, especially if you're looking for something a little bit different. So Davey, we got a bunch of news. Roy, you want to stick around a little bit longer?
Yeah, I mean, I should pass out, but let's give it a little more.
Well, I'm excited to get Pulp into your hands, Roy, as well as our Alice in Wonderland project. So we decided last week to get a bunch of news out, just kind of coming into kind of this first kind of wave of the pinball season with TPF, and we shared that we are working on a Pulp Fiction topper. So very excited to get that underway. If folks don't know, while there is a topper from a Chicago gaming company, it just came with the LE version,
which I'm expecting mine to arrive any day now.
Nice.
Hopefully.
And mine arrived the other day.
Yeah, you finally got yours?
Yeah, got my LE with the topper. I haven't set up the topper yet. Just time got away from me, but my daughter and I have played a bunch of games on it, and my wife was horrified that I immediately turned on the swearing mode even when I was playing with my 9-year-old daughter, because you just have to, don't you? You know,
obviously.
It's Pulp Fiction.
It's not a question, but yeah, I had to check this week the email from when I asked for it. It was like in August 21. When rumors were going around, I was getting on the list. So I still have not received it. So it's 4 years since I was dreaming of it, and probably 2.5, 3 since I ordered it.
Don't bring data into it, Chicago gaming.
But I'm like ready for this thing.
Yeah. Such a great game.
Yeah, we've got one here. Not the LE. We've got the standard edition, but it's an amazing game. I mean, the theme integration alone made. Because I love the game and because I think the theme deserves to kind of have as much of the world that it can have, we thought it was a great choice and got a lot of great feedback from people saying it was high on their list. Because CGC is not selling that to SE owners, like this is going to be a great way for them to maximize, their package. So we'll be announcing that officially in March, showing that off, and then shipping later this year. So. Davey, I'll be excited to see what you think whenever you see it at TPF.
I'm excited to see it, man. I know that I've seen some, I've seen some of the early mock-ups. We've had a couple of meetings on it, haven't we? Where you've sort of run me through everything, and I'm really excited to see sort of the finished product and where you end up taking it.
I'm excited myself too, and I've already set up a little page for it also on pinballgalore.com. So if anyone is interested in getting their orders through, whether from the UK, Europe, New Zealand, Australia, all you guys outside of the United States, just hop onto Pinball Galore and place your order, and Rob will make sure that we get our products out to you.
Definitely. All right, Roy, we're going to chase you off, my friend.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful night, a wonderful evening, and till next time.
Thanks, Roy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Roy. Take care. All right. Is my audio kind of coming in and out a little bit?
It's coming and going, but only a couple of. It's only done it a couple of times, so nothing too much to worry about, man.
Well, I'd like to have a theory on what's going on, but we'll keep pushing forward.
It's live. Yeah. It's live media, man. This is what happens when you fly by the seat of your pants.
Definitely. We're figuring it out. So, okay, we're good. So what do you got, Davey? I know I mentioned the buoys are shipping, and I did.
Yeah. So that's been pretty much taking up the majority of my time. we're all, it's one of those ones where you're sort of always trying to focus on design work because you sort of need, that's the fun bit, and that's the bit that we all love doing, getting down and creating new products, and so you always want to have stuff in the pipelines coming in. But obviously during product launches and things like that, there's always stuff that just sort of needs focusing on. So, we've had, a couple of fitment issues that have required new parts to come in. We've had parts running out that we weren't keeping track of properly. So we've run out of splitters. So we're waiting for them to come in. Chinese New Year's been happening in the background. And so, all of the suppliers have been away and I've only just come back onto the job. So there's been hold-ups and delays and things like that to deal with, but we've got maybe, I think, 100, 150 buoys out there already. People have been using the new Stumblor mod editor app, which is a brand new offering that we've released for the iPhone and iOS and on the web as well, that allows people to control the latest evolution of the boards that we release directly on their phone in a native way. So it's a much simpler sort of way of doing it. I'm really excited about it. It's been a long time coming. I think it's really going to speed things up for everybody and make, it'll enable people to share configs with each other. It's got sort of a marketplace for that sort of thing. So if somebody comes up with a really cool configuration of their mod, they can share it with everybody and people can download it and install it on their mods. So there's a lot of really cool features, but obviously with new tech and everything, there's always a couple of teething issues. So luckily I've had a really great group of people to work with who have been sort of feeding me bugs, telling me when things aren't working. So just been feverishly sort of working through those and getting them all sorted. Fortunately, nothing major. There's been a couple of fit issues with other mods. We've had a conflict recently with the pro version of the ball eater mod, and we also had a conflict as well with John's spinner toppers, the fishing reel topper that we had to deal with as well. So it's a bit of an unfortunate one because my stuff came out after everybody else's. That makes it my problem. Yes. So if I'd have come out first, the fit issues would be their problem. But it's the way it goes with these things. Everybody
is that kind of a first for you as far as the extent of that conflict, or is
possibly,
that
yeah. I mean, probably, particularly in terms of the prevalence of the mods. Like the ball eater mod was pretty popular as far as I know, and John's toppers were pretty popular as well, maybe 100 or 200 sold of those. So you just got much more chance of selling to a customer that's already got those other mods installed. But again, look, fortunately, the one person who's sort of got in touch about the ball eater mod conflict has been really, been really forthcoming in sort of, trying to come up with solutions, because obviously I don't have it, so I can't sort of work it out. But they've been great at offering, potential solutions to these things. So we've been working together to work out ways around it. And I think that there'll be ways to do that. But of course, all of those kind of little things, seize time away from other stuff that you probably should be focusing on. But that's just the way it goes.
It's kind of, you reminded me. So we shipped our first batch of attack from Mars, and then we've had a pretty, for us at least, a longer delay to the next batch. And I know some people are wondering what's going on. We did have some changes that we had to make, both on the packaging side, because we had some breakage issues, and then we had a wiring update that we wanted to make that we ended up shipping back out to all the people. But what happened was, like, we had to figure that out, and then of course we have to still be building things from a revenue perspective. So you end up slotting in something else while you take the proper amount of time to work that out. And then you've got to finish that up, So it's like these cycles are pretty interesting to work through. But, fortunately, we both have a customer base that's pretty patient with that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I can't speak highly enough of the patience that people have while we work through these things. And, I think, and I'm probably putting words in people's mouths here, but I think as long as you're as long as you come to the party and get in touch with people and you're on the case and you're communicative in an efficient way, and you're trying to help, people are patient with that process. So I can't speak, highly enough of the customers and how great they are, particularly the early adopters, and how much support they give. So, that's been a really fantastic thing. And, the workload is intense, but at least it's not stressful in that way,
Yeah, totally. Cool. Well, I'm glad to hear they're going out, and nice to get that moving, I'm sure, on your side. So,
yeah.
So last week, we also announced that we're working on a project with the team over at Dutch.
Very exciting.
Yeah. And this one you are involved in, which is super cool. So thanks for kind of helping us.
So essentially, we do work together, just in a very roundabout way. Yeah.
We do, totally. Yeah. So the history of this is really cool. I mean, for those who have been following along closely, probably that we interviewed Melvin before they ever announced Alice, and it's always fun to collaborate just on, what's coming with all the folks we've had on this show, not really knowing, what might come of that. But I did have the opportunity to interview Melvin again whenever they showed off Alice at Expo this last October. And my dad and I decided to get on Alice. So we've got one coming, which is super exciting. And I told this story. We did an interview with Colin at Kineticist on this. Did you happen to see that, Davey?
Yeah, I did, man. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So got into this a little bit if you guys want to check it out. But basically, long story short, I was like kind of looking at this topper, which is amazing, and thought there was a real opportunity to, do even more with it, because there is a lot of negative empty space, if you will, in terms of, bringing a world around the Cheshire Cat. And part of what we do is, expand on machines. And I saw an opportunity to do something here, and I was a little hesitant to bring it up to Melvin, even though I already had a relationship with him. But I started talking with Renz about it, which is their support, their head of support, and yeah, he was like, "No, dude, totally." Not in that accent. He didn't say "dude." He said, "Totally."
Yeah.
Totally. Totally. Ask him about that. So he asked me to Melvin now. Asked me to contact him in December because he needed a little bit of time for things to die down. But starting in December, I pitched this idea to him. He loved it, and we've already kind of sorted through the artwork. We sorted through the functionality. It is not going to be a piece of a yellow acrylic, which some people thought.
That dude's a UK guy as well, man. I'm so sorry.
He's going to start complaining about your timelines, Davey. You're messing up, right?
Yeah. He will. He'll be jumping in my DMs. Yeah.
I think he was serious, but at some point I thought he was just screwing with me. But no, it's not going to be just a piece of yellow acrylic. I think probably what it is that people do make stuff like that sometimes, but they don't know our product. And if you knew our product, you would know that's not what it was going to be. But we did want to give a little bit of a visual, so you can tell that there's some trees going on. There's an archway over the Cheshire Cat. Essentially, we're trying to bring in the world that you were first exposed to when you met the Cheshire Cat in the Disney movie, which was this dark forest. And we're building that scene around the Cheshire Cat. And as you can imagine, the archway will have words on it. And it's not going to say Alice in Wonderland. But we've got some really cool ideas for that. And Davey is going to help with this. So Davey, can you just give a real quick update for people about what you built for this game that comes?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was after that Melvin interview that Melvin got in touch with me and asked if I'd want to be involved in the project. And like you know, we always jump at the chance to, work on really interesting collaborations, particularly when it's with a manufacturer. So what Melvin wanted from me was the use of one of our lolly boards. to light up the side rails. For anybody who hasn't seen Alice in Wonderland before, it's got some really fantastic laser cut side rails that have got some text running down the side that's a quote from Alice in Wonderland. So what Melvin wanted to do was run a addressable RGB LED strip down both side rails so that they were lit from the inside but shining out so that you saw the letters. And of course, I jumped at the chance because that's sort of, really, directly in my wheelhouse. So, this was right about the time that we were releasing the Lolly version 3 board, with the Bluetooth app that I sort of mentioned earlier. So we sort of, progressed that build, used it in Alice, lit up the side rails. We're also controlling the arm movements of the Jabberwocky, and also like a etched acrylic in the shooter lane that's also lit. And all of those elements are all completely mode aware in the game. One of the great aspects of working with a manufacturer is that you get access to all the game data, which is something we talk about a lot as mod makers. We never really know what's going on in the game, so we have to generally or usually listen to switches, listen to lamps, and try and work out game state that way. But when you're working with a manufacturer, you can say, hey, let's connect via USB, you can send me all the game data, what mode we're in, whether we're in multi-ball, whether it's game start, whether it's a tracked mode. So the lolly board's getting all of that information. It's all going into the lolly board. We're changing up the side rail patterns depending on what mode you're in. So if it's a white rabbit mode, it'll be a white chase light and things like that. And the cool thing is because the lolly board's connectable via Bluetooth, all the customers will be able to change all those. There's the lighting effects there that you can see on the side rails. Change all those lighting effects to their taste. And also create new ones by using this game data that I mentioned before. So that lollyboard's got one spare output that we left so that customers could create their own mods for the game if they wanted to using this system. And lo and behold, that's what we're planning to use for the topper, Rob.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that the arms thing on the Jabberwocky was yours too. So
yeah,
not to get into product design right now, but that's very interesting information.
It can drive servos and turn on and off toys, all depending on triggers and things like that.
Yeah, so we do, and we have announced this. We are going to have a motor in the topper expansion. So we're calling this the topper expansion. We're kind of expanding on the design of the topper. We're building a world around it, and we're planning on getting in at least one motor with a movable object. And I brought that up because I think, Davey, honestly, tying that movement to the movement on the topper at the same time might make sense. But what I'm really excited about is just how simple you're going to make this, I guess, not only for us, but for the customer. So it's like going to be a very easy install. It's gonna replicate that same lighting that you saw on the side hot rails. I think it's been called. So I think it's great, and I'm super honored to have the opportunity to work with the DPX team on this and with you. Just a great opportunity for us, and we're going to have the game in house, so it's going to be really nice. So Davey's got a topper coming to us, and then he's working with us to try to get our unit pretty early. So I don't know the timeline on this, but it'll definitely be coming later this year.
Awesome, man. Yeah, really excited about that. I'm just got a question quickly. Let's just Davey, when are the lollyboards coming for Foo Fighters? Very soon, like extremely soon. We'll get there in just a sec because that's one of the other projects. May as well just jump straight into that.
Yeah, go for it. It was on the agenda. Yeah.
Yeah. So with the buoy and everything that's been happening, obviously that takes a lot of time. But the other project that I was working on in the lead up to the buoy release was what we're calling lolly kits. I'm just going to change over my mic. You let me know if this. Can you?
Yeah, I hear tapping.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, let's get moving. So, The lolly kits were so the Lolly version 3 board that I mentioned before that's running in Alice, we're also planning to use these boards as the controller board for these things called lolly kits, which are kits that can be installed in any game that light up the posts of your game and then respond to game triggers. So each of the kits will be slightly different depending on the game. So it might have, generally they'll have 3 post lights in the slings and then sort of a number of post lights elsewhere. Now I'll just demonstrate that. Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay, going walkabout. Is my mic still working?
Yes, sir.
Yep, okay, great. So we've got Metallica here, which is a fantastic game. New entry into Stumblor headquarters. Such a fantastic game. And you can see that we've got lit post lights under the slings that respond to sling hits.
Oh yeah, very
So
nice.
these are doing like a fire effect, and then when you hit them, they sort of do more fire.
Is that a first for you, or have you done that with Godzilla too?
Yeah, that's right. So Godzilla just had 2 posts that you could do this with, which were the left and right at the bottom. So that was the Lolly UFO kit for Godzilla. And I've always had people coming up to me just saying how much they really love those posts and, that we should do them, for other games. And so that's kind of where the idea came from. And so the question that just popped up on the chat was, when is the Foo Fighters post lights coming out? Which you can see sort of, I've got them in here. I've got the glass on Foo Fighters at the moment, so I can't demonstrate what they look like when they're triggered. And then more up the side there. But this is the one that we initially ran with, but we've also got Ghostbusters and Mandalorian, and Stranger Things as well, which are out now. And then we've got more on the way. I think we've got Iron Maiden and Metallica, obviously, and we're working on another couple of games as well. But the idea is that we're going to have a whole host of games that we're going to have install kits for, custom documentation. We're getting help from the community to put a lot of these kits together. So getting a lot of help from people who are installing them in their games and then writing the documentation. And when I've got a free moment, we're going to start putting these together and getting them out to people. So yeah, to answer the question, the Foo Fighters one will be the first one to go out. People who are on the list for any of these lolly kits can order any of the other ones at the same time. So if you're on the list once, you can order whatever kits we have available at that time. And I'm really excited about it. It's another opportunity to get the new lolly boards into people's hands, getting them to use the new Bluetooth app, releasing their own configurations. So yeah, it's a new sort of avenue that I'm really excited about, and I can't wait to see what people come up with.
Awesome. And you have one more question for Scott. I know Scott. What's up, buddy? Godzilla won't be complete without a Mothra by Stumblor.
Yeah, this is the other question that constantly comes up: is there going to be a Tokyo Neon 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. So there's the Mothra on Godzilla. Hang on, so let's cruise back here so that everybody knows what we're talking about. Let's go back over here. So Godzilla 70th over here. Shamefully, I don't have any of my mods on this one yet because I'm still need to install them all in here. But this is the Mothra on Godzilla, and you can see it. There's I think the theater sort of comes out about that far. So there's still space here for one more building that people have been asking for. But you can see there's a couple of problems of doing that. There's obviously the ramp that comes out here that you'd sort of have to wrap around, and you'd have to get rid of Mothra and do something with him, change him up, put a new Mothra in. So I haven't sort of wrapped my head quite around exactly what that project's going to look like. But yeah, look, I'll probably do it at some point. Just need a bit of time to invest.
We had a follow
follow-up question on the lollies. Will integration be possible?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got, so the sensors, I don't know if I've got a lolly board here that I can, so this is one of the older lolly boards. This isn't a version 3. But essentially there's daughter boards that can sit on here which provide the sensing. And so we've got different daughter boards depending on the architecture of the game. So there's a Spike one, there's a WPC one, there's a SAM one. And depending on which game we'll be installing these kits in depends on which daughter board will be put on that board, and each one will come with its a preset color configuration for that game, so that it matches the game, and obviously you can change that after the fact as well. So yeah,
one more.
I remember the first, like literally, I mean, everybody keeps asking me and I keep saying 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It really just depends on when we've got, like we've started putting the bags together. So the boards are flashed, all of the post light PCBs are put into bags. Really, it's just a case of, well, we're still waiting on splitters. So the Splitter Plus, we're waiting on stock for that. That has to come from China. That should arrive by next week. Once that comes, then we can start sending out invoices. But I'm loath to send out invoices to people if we're just sitting on orders, because it's not a good place to be when you're holding on to people's money and not sending out stuff. So once that stuff comes, we'll be sending out invoices for that first round of lolly kits, and I really appreciate everyone's patience as usual.
Cool. What's the genesis of the lolly name? Did you ask your kids how to name that thing? And...
It's the same story as where Stumblor came from, which is like you kind of just run with something, right? Like, okay, so lolly started out as a pop bumper. Like I put like rings, RGB addressable LED rings in pop bumpers. So I was like, I need a name for pop bumper, pops, lollipops. Well, oh, perfect, lollipops, because they kind of look like lollipops, and and I thought that makes perfect sense. And then when I started using the lolly board, what I did call the lollipops board in other stuff, it didn't make sense that it was like pops anymore. So I kind of just shortened it to lolly, and then now it's just, that's what it is. So
nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing. Sounds like we got a lot of people waiting for those. I'm super impressed with how that works.
Thanks,
and I think
man.
that adds a lot, honestly. Especially for just such a fantastically lit game already, you would think it doesn't need more, but that's crazy. It definitely needs more.
Yeah, it always needs more, man.
Cool. So, so our last piece of news, because again, this is the shameless plug episode. We are excited to have brought on a new team member. I don't know if you guys know about the Tony Hawk Pro Pinball game that debuted at Expo, but Nick Neitzel, who's based here in St. Louis, someone I've got to know better over the last 18 months, is coming on full-time with us. He actually started in mid-January. Nick's background is in electrical engineering. He's done work for the Department of Defense and the aviation industry, making equipment for testing and building airplanes. So like, he's bringing so much to the table just from an electrical engineering perspective, but also obviously incredibly creative. This original theme, Tony Hawk Pro Pinball, Davey, you got to play it. I mean, it's crazy.
Which
everything he did with
absolutely
this.
Blew people's minds in Expo and gave us our best video content from Expo, in my opinion.
Totally. So Nick's an incredible designer. He's not coming onto the electric playground. We're not making pinball machines, folks. So not changing our strategy there. But and he's going to continue on working on his project. He's got an amazing idea already in the works for 2026. Super excited for you guys to see that. But he's also going to be helping me and Alec building toppers. So he's already fully dove in. One of the reasons we wanted to announce Pulp, because we knew people were going to want to know what he was working on. So Nick is going to be, or is already fully engaged on Pulp, working on the lighting, driving the innovation forward on that, driving the simplicity of installation forward on that. driving so many things to make that product amazing. And then, of course, we've got a number of other topper ideas that we're working on. We did do a survey around Christmas and got, I think, over 300 responses. So we've got a pretty good idea what we're going to be building next, just kind of based on customer feedback. And Nick is going to be bringing, hopefully, his own original kind of design into the fold with the next product. So just a huge shout out to Nick and for, you know, coming on board with us. It's really exciting to have such a talented person with us, for sure.
Yeah, amazing, man. That's great news. I mean, and what a lovely guy too.
Totally. Yeah. Super cool. Great to have people in pinball and culturally. I think he's going to be a great fit. Everyone here is super excited about that.
Yeah, that's great, man. Is he based in St. Louis?
He is. Yeah. So he was actually, I saw an Instagram post about this guy thanking other St. Louis pinball guys for giving him playfields and cabinets. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, a bunch of people are like giving this guy stuff. And I knew he must be up to something interesting because, you know, people like to hold on to those things. And ultimately they were giving him the pieces of the puzzle, so to speak, to start this project. And I reached out to him and we ended up getting together for a game and a beer. And he started sharing, you know, the specifics with me. And I was like, oh man, you're really making this happen, you know? And then ultimately, I introduced him to Aaron with Fast, and he ended up deciding to go with Fast. So that was really cool to kind of see those things come together. But then ultimately, came together.
So you hooked up with him quite early on in his in that project then, like before he'd actually started building, essentially.
Very, very early on. I kind of got to see the whole project unfold and gave him most of my advice was in the form of how to launch it. It was less from how to build it. But at a certain point in the process, I was like, man, like, how you feeling about what you're doing full time? Would you like to be in the pinball space? And then it was like, okay, I'd love to work with you guys, but let's let you finish the project and talk about all that after Expo. So then kind of after Expo and the dust settled, it was like, hey, like, how can we make this happen? And then in January it came together.
Great stuff, man. Yeah, what a great asset for the company. Really excited to see. So he's working on Pulp, is he?
Yeah, so he's going to be primarily working on R&D, research and development for the company. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's cool too, because he worked for a major aviation company, so he brings in a lot of process engineering talent as well. A lot of times like Toyota way and like just in time type stuff, but also just like general documentation and like helping us to see what the big guys do from a documentation perspective. And you're probably always evolving that, and we are too, but he's allowing us to evolve that in even a more rapid way.
I still feel like, my documentation's good, but I still feel like it's very hobbyist in a lot of ways. So it'd be amazing if you've ever seen sort of color DMD's documentation, it's so slick and so beautiful and just designed so nicely. I'd love to have something, on that kind of level for my documentation. Mine's serviceable and functional, but it's not pretty, So it'd be great to evolve that.
Totally. Yeah, we're kind of realizing that to bring products back onto the line, as in doing second and third runs, a lot of that work is paying off in spades if we can do it better the first time around, because then we can just get it back on quicker. So now that we're expanding, we can not only do that better.
You're talking about assembly documentation for internal stuff. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Just the complexity of our projects. So like we have all these models of things and we have QA documents, but they're kind of done in the moment, so to speak, to where it's like, okay, let's do it on this level so that we can service our current workflows for all the sub-assemblies. But we haven't necessarily like thought about it from the perspective of, hey, if I pick up this same piece of documentation 3 months later, am I going to be able to know what the hell this chicken scratch means? So he's helping in that sense, and that's a bandwidth issue probably as much as anything. So by by me handing off the R&D to him, which he'll ultimately be better at it anyway, I can simultaneously do that and then also kind of be like, hey man, what do you think about the way we're doing this type thing?
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Sounds like I need a Nick.
Totally. I mean, we're super fortunate. I'll just kind of leave it at that. He's going to be a great asset. So welcome to the team,
Great
Nick.
stuff.
Yeah.
All right, have we got time for a little
last shameless plug,
peek?
Davey?
Yeah.
What?
Little sneak peek. Yeah.
Real sneak peek?
A real sneak peek, a legit one, man.
Let's do it.
Sneak peek. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So I think I maybe showed this off, maybe, or maybe mentioned it in the pod like last year sometime or whatever. But anyway,
I remember.
It's sort of, it's almost ready to go now. But it's an Elton John mod, of which there aren't that many actually. But it's a sign replacement for the back left. There's a sign at the back left of Elton that sort of tells you various things about what's going on, about locking balls and jackpots and that kind of stuff. And it's just sort of like a basic sign, but I thought it was a good opportunity to give it a bit of sort of Tokyo Neon Stumblor treatment, and replace it with something a bit fancier. So this is what we've got. Can you see where it is?
This is what we talked about. This would be a prime spot. Yeah. Wow. Cool. Hell yeah.
Hang on. Let me go. I think I've left my. I've still got my mic on, don't I? So
for those who own Godzilla, this sign was basically the same as the original Godzilla sign in terms of complexity, right?
Pretty much. Well, sort of yes and no. Like, okay, so the way that JJP run most of their lights is that they're all addressable. So this sign is no different. Whoops. Sorry, press the button on Metallica. So yeah, their sign had 5 lamps down there and then 5 bits of text. And so essentially it was 10 addressable LEDs. So there's only 3 cables running into the sign on the original, because it's an addressable.
Can you go a little bit closer?
Yeah. It's 5 volts.
Gigs in there.
Yeah, 5 volts, cool. Data and ground. So it was a little bit more complex in the sense that we had to, read that data and then translate that to triggers for the sign. So the outside you can see is resonant. It's kind of pulsing at the moment. Again, these are just effects that I've sort of just put on really late in the game because I was sort of struggling to get a demoable version of it sort of ready. Obviously the colors aren't coming through that well, but what I'll try and do is I'll try and go into the tests. What are we, LED tests? 2 secs. And so the triggers aren't sort of working quite properly yet either, as you can see. But sorry, I'm just trying to pull up. Hang on a sec. I'm probably not going to be able to find it anyway, but that's one of the trigger effects there. And what will happen is that for every time that one of these lamps goes off, the border will sort of play a pattern. This will light up to show you that something is ready to hit, in much the same way as Tokyo Neon did. And once again, fully controllable over using a new Bluetooth app. Hopefully be ready within the next couple of months.
Cool. Yeah, that object is kind of just, you lose sight of it because there's so much else going on in the game. So I think that'll be a nice addition for sure.
Hopefully, man. Yeah. Yep.
Cool. So are you? We kind of talked about the market for Elton. Like, do you feel like this is kind of just like you're throwing it at the wall, see if it sticks, or are you pretty hopeful for it? Or?
I mean, yeah. Like I've never done a mod for JJP before, so I don't know sort of what the market's like. I don't know whether everyone else has moved on from Elton yet, or whether people. I mean, how's the secondary market for Elton in the US? I've not seen any come up for sale in the UK.
I would say good in that sense, in that like they're hard to find. But I mean, that's maybe that there's not a lot out there too, which obviously can have a mixed, thing. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of our decision to do pulp was based on our success with Lebowski, and I feel like if you have a passionate user base that wants that game to be everything that it can be, which seemed to be the case with Lebowski, and I think it'll be the case with pulp. Like, I'd hope you'd see the same there. And to me, to me, it looks like that'll probably be, in the grand scheme of things, like a relatively affordable mod. So I would like to think, as long as you can reach folks and let them know about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably going to be positioned at the same level as Tokyo Neon, which is I think 179 UK, so that ends up being 220 or 230 or something like that. So sort of on the lower end of sort of where we sort of tend to position those kind of things. It'll be really interesting sort of to see what the market's like for it and whether people have got an appetite for it.
Cool.
There's not a lot of mods out there for Elton, so people might be keen to sort of do a bit of dressing up. We'll also be offering a lolly kit for it as well to do the posts. So yeah, a bit of JJP action for the first time. We'll see how it goes.
Very cool. Well, thanks for showing. It's great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thank you.
So no mods this week. We're gonna probably hit the mod world next time, and then we've got the War Room part 2 coming sometime in the future. But we've got TBF coming up too, and you're still coming, right?
I'm still coming, man. Yeah,
Nice,
I've got my party shorts on. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll be boothless this year, so my party shorts will have to be ready as well. It sounds like
wearing them on your head by the end of the trip.
But we are hoping to have pulp. We are gonna have pulp. Wormhole, Jamie with the Wormhole is gonna bring his pulp, so we'll have it on display. So we'll be hanging out with Aaron at Fast. We'll be hanging out with Jamie. The Wormhole would be great.
Doing lots of interviews on the floor, walking around, making nuisances of ourselves.
Definitely. All right, folks. We'll see you again. I'm sure at least one more time before TPF. But thanks for letting us show off our wares, and we hope you're excited about what's coming.
Yeah.
Davey, till next time, buddy. See ya.
Thanks, man. Good to see you. Bye, everyone. Bye.